Are you or those around you challenging yourselves with intermittent fasting? A journey that is far more than just weight loss, but a profound biological transformation at the cellular level. In this video, we will decode exactly what happens when your body flips the switch to self-repair and rejuvenation from a scientific perspective, empowering you to master your health wisely. Don't forget to subscribe now to join me in uncovering the body's secrets and optimizing your wellness journey every day. Part 1: The initial phase. Energy source transition 0 to 12 hours. The first few hours of your transition 0. Intermittent fasting journey often feel like stepping into uncharted territory on your own biological map. This is the moment when the body begins to recognize shifts in its daily energy intake and initiates a series of sophisticated adjustments within the first 0 to 6 hours. Your body reacts noticeably to the absence of glucose, the quick energy source it has grown so accustomed to from regular meals. As blood sugar levels begin to drop, the pancreas receives a signal to scale back insulin production. This is a critical milestone, as the main character, insulin, retreats. Your cells begin to understand that they are no longer being supplied with abundant external energy. Rather than waiting passively, the cells activate their receptors, searching for internal backup fuel sources. This process is not merely a deficit, it is preparation for a complete overhaul of how your body manages energy. Moving into the 6 to 12-hour window, a remarkable shift begins deep within your internal systems. Your digestive system, which typically works non-stop to process food, finally gets a moment of rest. With no need to divert massive blood flow and energy toward digestion and absorption, the body starts shifting its priorities toward a state of maintenance and repair. At this stage, the liver steps in as a vital protector. As blood glucose levels continue to decline, the liver begins releasing glycogen, a stored form of complex sugar accumulated from previous meals, into the bloodstream. This helps stabilize your energy levels, ensuring that your brain and essential organs continue functioning normally. Image the liver releasing glycogen into the bloodstream as glucose levels drop. However, this transition often comes with uncomfortable psychophysiological responses. You may feel restless, fatigued, or slightly irritable, a state often described as being hangry. These sensations are driven by subtle increases in hormones such as cortisol and glucagon, which encourage the body to mobilize energy reserves. Do not interpret this as weakness. In reality, this is the moment your metabolism is waking up from dormancy. It is a crucial rehearsal, a necessary step that allows your body to build resilience before fully entering efficient fat-burning mode and reaching higher levels of mental clarity in the later stages of your fasting journey. Part 2: The adaptation phase. The metabolic switch 12 to 18 hours. As you cross the 12-hour fasting mark, your body begins to step away from its comfort zone and enters a fascinating biological state. This is when a phenomenon scientists call the metabolic switch is officially activated. If the first 12 hours were about consuming what remained, the window from 12 to 18 hours marks the beginning of an internal revolution, your body learning to fuel itself from stored energy. The most critical highlight of this phase is the production of ketones. Once the liver's glycogen stores are depleted, the body has no choice but to turn to its largest and most sustainable energy reserve, stored fat. At this point, the liver shifts into high gear, breaking down fatty acids and converting them into ketone bodies. This is not just an alternative fuel. It is a premium energy source, one that allows the body to function efficiently without relying on carbohydrates or sugar. As ketones rise, A powerful transformation begins inside the brain. Mental clarity mode. Unlike glucose, which often leads to sudden energy crashes and post-meal drowsiness, ketones provide a clean, stable, and sustained stream of energy to the nervous system. You may notice the fog in your mind slowly dissolving, replaced by sharper focus, faster thinking, and a heightened sense of awareness. At the same time, this state stimulates the production of BDNF, a critical protein that protects neurons, enhances learning, and strengthens memory. But the transformation does not stop there. Your body begins activating what can be described as a smart survival mode. Instead of weakening, your endocrine system ramps up the release of human growth hormone, HGH, and norepinephrine. This hormonal surge increases alertness, accelerates fat burning for fuel, and at the same time protects muscle tissue from being broken down. This is not a flaw. It is an evolutionary advantage. It is the very mechanism that kept our ancestors sharp, focused, and physically capable even when food was scarce. And now, in this moment, you are tapping into that same ancient system to upgrade your metabolism, your brain, and your overall health. Part 3. The Deep Recovery Phase. Autophagy, 18 to 24 hours. When you push beyond the 18-hour mark, you enter what many scientists consider the holy grail of fasting. At this stage, the story is no longer just about burning fat or stabilizing hormones. Something far more profound begins. Your body activates one of its most extraordinary survival mechanisms, autophagy, derived from Greek, meaning self-eating. This process is not destructive. It is, in fact, a highly intelligent system of cellular renewal, a deep internal cleanup that most people never experience in their daily lives. Within the 18 to 24-hour window, your cells begin scanning themselves. They search for damaged proteins, misfolded structures, and worn-out components that have accumulated over time. Instead of allowing this cellular waste to build up, triggering inflammation or disease, your body takes control. It breaks these components down into raw materials and reuses them to build new, stronger, and more efficient cellular structures. This is not a surface-level detox. It is a deep, internal recycling system, one that no juice cleanse, supplement, or shortcut can replicate. The benefits of reaching this phase extend far beyond short-term fat loss. By clearing cellular debris, autophagy becomes a powerful protective mechanism, helping reduce the risk of chronic conditions such as type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and even certain forms of cancer. This is the point where your body is no longer just surviving without food. It is actively repairing, rebuilding, and upgrading itself from the inside out. Scientists often describe this phase as pressing a biological reset button. After 18 hours of fasting, you are no longer simply managing weight. You are engaging in a deep anti-aging process, one that optimizes your internal systems to function with greater efficiency and resilience. This is the hidden intelligence of the human body, a system designed to turn moments of scarcity into an opportunity for total cellular renewal. Part 4. Hormonal and psychological transformations. As fasting becomes a consistent practice, the transformation moves far beyond simple energy cycles. It begins to rewire your internal chemistry quietly, but profoundly. This is the phase where the long-term benefits of intermittent fasting start to solidify, creating a new baseline for both your endocrine system and your mental state. At the center of this transformation is your endocrine system. With more time spent in a fasted state, your insulin levels gradually settle into a healthier baseline, significantly improving your insulin sensitivity. This means that when you do eat, your body processes carbohydrates more efficiently, reducing the risk of metabolic dysfunction over time. At the same time, levels of human growth hormone begin to rise, sometimes increasing by up to 5 times their normal levels. Behind the scenes, this hormone acts like a biological shield. It helps preserve lean muscle mass, supports tissue repair, and stimulates collagen production, often resulting in firmer, more resilient, and more youthful-looking skin. But the transformation is not just physical. It extends deeply into your nervous system. Without the constant roller coaster of blood sugar spikes and crashes, your brain begins to stabilize. You may notice a more balanced regulation of serotonin and dopamine, the neurotransmitters responsible for mood, motivation, and emotional well-being. This shift smooths out mood swings, reduces underlying anxiety, and creates a stronger sense of calm and control. At the same time, something subtle but powerful is happening in your brain. The repeated act of delaying gratification strengthens your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for decision-making and self-control. Over time, this doesn't just change how you eat. It changes how you respond to stress, impulses, and challenges across your entire life. Perhaps the most significant long-term adaptation is the development of metabolic flexibility. Through consistent fasting, your body relearns an ancient skill, the ability to switch seamlessly between burning glucose and burning fat. Instead of experiencing an energy crash when meals are delayed, a metabolically flexible body simply shifts gears, drawing from stored fat without disruption. At that point, everything changes. You are no longer controlled by hunger. You are no longer dependent on constant input. You become a high-performance hybrid system capable of maintaining stable energy, clear thinking, and consistent output, regardless of when you last ate. Part 5. Results after 30 days of consistency. After a full month of consistent intermittent fasting, something profound happens. You are no longer just following a diet. You have upgraded your entire biological operating system. By the 30-day mark, the small internal shifts, almost invisible at first, have compounded into a transformation that is both visible and measurable. It reaches into every layer of your physical and mental health. On a physical level, your body becomes a system of remarkable efficiency. Your mitochondria, the microscopic engines inside your cells, have grown stronger and more abundant. This allows you to generate more energy with less metabolic waste. The result is a steady, clean, and sustained energy throughout the day without relying on caffeine or sugar spikes. At the same time, your gut microbiome undergoes a significant realignment. Fasting creates the space your digestive system needs to reset. Beneficial bacteria begin to thrive, leading to improved digestion and a more resilient immune system. But perhaps the most noticeable shift is the reduction in systemic inflammation. This often reveals itself in subtle but powerful ways: clearer skin, reduced joint discomfort, and a lowered long-term risk of chronic disease. Yet the most surprising transformation is not physical. It is psychological. After 30 days, your relationship with food changes at a fundamental level. You no longer eat out of boredom. stress, or unconscious habit. You begin to see food for what it truly is, fuel and nourishment. You gain a deep sense of control, a quiet confidence. You realize you are no longer controlled by hunger signals or impulsive cravings. The influence of ghrelin, the so-called hunger hormone, begins to lose its grip. The constant mental noise, the urge to think about your next meal, fades into the background. In its place emerges something far more powerful: clarity, focus, awareness. You begin to recognize the difference between true biological hunger and emotional appetite, and that awareness changes everything. By the end of this month, you are no longer the same person who started. You have transitioned from dependence to resilience, from reacting to controlling, from consuming to understanding. You are no longer just feeding your body, you are working with it, aligned with its rhythms, and in that alignment, you unlock a version of yourself that is more efficient, more balanced, and far more powerful than before. Part 6: Key Considerations for Success to truly unlock the transformative power of intermittent fasting. Success is not determined only by when you stop eating, but by how you manage the entire process. Because this is not just a timing strategy, it is a system that requires awareness, consistency, and respect for your own biology. The first layer of success lies in avoiding common mistakes, silent errors that can quietly sabotage your progress. Many beginners fall into a predictable trap. They fast for hours, only to break that fast with highly processed, low-quality food. But after a period of deep internal repair, feeding your body with junk creates a shock. It triggers insulin spikes, disrupts digestion, and cancels out many of the benefits you just built. Another overlooked factor is hydration. As insulin levels drop during fasting, your body naturally releases water, along with essential minerals like sodium and magnesium. If you fail to replenish them, the consequences show up quickly: headaches, fatigue, even muscle cramps. And then there is inconsistency, perhaps the most underestimated mistake of all. When your fasting schedule constantly shifts, your hormones cannot stabilize. Your body remains in a state of confusion, never fully adapting, never reaching peak efficiency. Consistency is what turns fasting from a struggle into a system. There is also a critical distinction when it comes to fasting for women. Female biology is far more sensitive to energy restriction and metabolic stress. The balance between estrogen and progesterone is delicate, and when pushed too aggressively, fasting can disrupt that balance, raising cortisol and affecting overall hormonal health. For this reason, many women find better results with a more flexible approach. Instead of longer fasting patterns, a gentler structure such as a 14-hour fast with a 10-hour eating window often aligns better with their physiology. The key is not to follow rigid rules, but to listen, adapt, and respect your body's signals, especially across different phases of the hormonal cycle. And finally, there is one step that most people underestimate: how you break your fast. Because ending the fast is not the finish line, it is the transition. If done carelessly, it can undo everything. But if done correctly, it amplifies your results. Instead of overwhelming your system, you should gently wake up your digestion. Start with nutrient-dense, easy-to-digest foods, whole fruits, lightly cooked vegetables, or healthy fats like avocado and olive oil. This gradual reintroduction prevents sudden insulin spikes and allows your body to absorb nutrients more efficiently. When you treat the end of your fast with intention, rather than urgency, you reinforce the very metabolic adaptations you worked so hard to build, and that is where real progress begins.